This is Dead Serious, a show about short horror stories worthy of discussion. I'm Dead Pallet, and like James Sunderland, I'm here to end this. Today we're going to be taking a look at the third part in the World War II historian trilogy on No Sleep. I am a World War II historian. This is when I finished the job. So apparently, hopefully when he says finish the job, he means get out of there, because there's a monster. But I get the feeling that that's not what's going to happen. Let's get right into it. I'm sitting on the wet, cool, green grass, listening to the roaring flame and screams of the Nazi laboratory. The fire illuminates where I'm sitting, creating an orange glow that's even more beautiful knowing that's what's burning inside. I finish the job. I hear the faint police sirens in the distance, slowly coming closer. I'll be gone by the time they get here. I'm James, and this is when I burn the place to the ground. Seems like a bit of an overreaction. Weird way to go about that. I would have left instead of starting a fire, and I like starting fires. But I'm just trying to figure out why that would be the play here. I was kind of assuming this thing was like built into a mountain or is like underground, but I guess it's just like something that you can go up. I guess it's just a big structure and presumably made of concrete, which isn't extremely flammable. I don't know. These are just thoughts, but I guess that is the only way to kill this apparently bulletproof thing that regenerates, so you know what? I take it back. Okay, I guess that's the play. That's the play we're making. I woke up, nuke it from orbit. I woke up in the morning and checked the last post, not as popular as the first, but got the job done. One of you thought that there was something in the air here that makes me fall asleep. You would be right, but I'll continue with the story. I woke up, checked my last post, and lay in my sleeping bag. I know what I saw yesterday and wanted to leave, but my instincts told me to finish the job you started so many years ago. I remember the scorched burn marks on the walls and rooms. I remember the paper, black and brittle. My body told me to run away, but my mind told me to finish the job. The job I started in 1947. What? Come on. This person started taking critiques and just like went off the deep end with a silly thing. Like, that's why you need to plan out this stuff, because then it just runs off the rails like this. Like you're a secret Nazi sleeper agent from all the... Okay, James Cook. But I would point out that these posts aren't made days apart, a day apart. They're like made multiple days apart. So the timeline doesn't work if this is supposed to be a real life story. Again, you gotta plan this stuff out. I got up, changed, ate, and grabbed my weapon. I filled my backpack with a wood and a lighter, and then slung it on my back. I walked towards the heavy steel door. I opened it the same as usual with a large audible creak. Nothing stirred in the darkness. I turned on my flashlight and saw only blackness, absolute darkness, all that I see, imprisoning me, Nazi experiment camp. I walked past the orientation and generators. I remembered what happened last time. I walked and saw a single stairwell. It went down. My flashlight could not penetrate even 2 flights down. I started walking down the stairs, listening for noises, breaths, anything. Eventually I made it down to the first stairwell exit. The name of it was intelligible. The black burn marks were far too numerous here. I think they mean to say unintelligible. I looked at the walls inside this area, charred. Lining the walls were prison cells. They had a bed, a light bulb, and at least a skeleton each cell. Should be in each cell, per cell. Some of them had none, some of them had multiple. But, wait, at least a skeleton each cell, some of them had none though? Some of them had skeletons in them. All of them had skeletons in them, but some of them didn't have skeletons in them. It was a surreal sight. At the end of the hallway, there were strong cells. 2 of them, 2 rows of prison bars with a concrete and steel barrier separating the cells from the others. One cell had its bars ripped out, like a steel bender circus man escaped from it. The other, I heard breathing from. That's a good line. And so we are establishing that these two cells are different than the other cells. They have more import in the story, and we should pay closer attention to them. I like the idea of like a circus man who's a steel bender being in there, escaping. That's a cool visual. You know, it does bring to mind, I recently watched a documentary about some of the Chichijima Islands on Japan and how those were kind of like a forward operating base for Japan, and they were the site of a lot of Japanese loss, like a lot of people died there. And because they're so remote, overall people didn't really care about clearing them out, because it wasn't like the mainland where people were living there. These islands were, evacuated and everything. So a bunch of people died there and no one did anything with the remains. No one did anything with the military installation. And so there's kind of an excuse for that, because it wasn't something that people had to see and had to deal with. So if that's going to be the excuse here, is that these are like a secluded area, then that might help explain why no one cared to go through and clean out all the skeletons and whatnot. But if it's just, in the forest somewhere that's a little weaker, it should be explained at the very least, is what I'm saying. So we do have breathing from this other one. My flashlight shone on the other cell. The walls and the ceiling had scratches and burn marks on them. I looked at the floor. There it was, the monster. It looked weak and disheveled, like it had caught the flu. It had the strange growth I noticed yesterday weren't present, and it looked human. It was a human. It held the same colors as the monster, but looked humanoid. So this one is in the cell that's not open, right? Yeah, like someone escaped from the other one and then heard breathing from the other one. So this one is locked in there. So the real monster is still out there. This is the other monster that wasn't strong enough to escape. So there's two monsters. This one's still imprisoned. The other one is not. It spoke German like the monster as well, mostly whispering barely audible words. It did not concern me. I had to finish the job. What? Oh man, this whole like you're a Nazi sleeper agent thing is really unnecessary. I walked past the normal prison cells and walked down another set of stairs. While the stairs continued, they were blocked with rubble, just as I remembered from many years ago. That had worked, but I failed to finish the job. I needed to burn the place to Hell's Gate. To Hell's Gate? That's a weird... Come on, like that's... To Hell's Gate? Am I the only... Do I need to point out why that's cheesy? I then opened the steel door to the familiar laboratory area. Here was the monster's den. This failed to burn the first time I came. I will not fail again. The glass windows of each operation room were broken. I whispered a quiet Heil Hitler, Hail Hydra, as I passed under the large Nazi banner. Then I saw it. It was sleeping, crouched in the corner. I grabbed my lighter in firewood, gasoline, and quietly placed it all over the place. It would burn. So you're placing it in what is presumably a building made of concrete, and you're just putting like a few logs here and there and thinking that is going to burn the place down with a little bit of gasoline. Like, it might burn the monster, hopefully, if that's your goal, but it's not like a flammable house. I'm assuming this thing is made of concrete. Maybe it's just like, if it has prison cells. It's made of concrete. Come on, people. I walked by the exit to the research wing. This was my home before the Nazis lost. This was my home before the monster escaped. I flicked the lighter on and tossed it into the gasoline. The bright orange and yellow woke the monster, but by the time the fire had spread through the room, I exited the research room and watched as the fire spread to engulf the monster. It wailed. I walked upstairs and the fire spread slowly behind me. I exited my birthplace before the flame spread towards me. I can still hear the wailing. Pity. I sincerely am starting to think that this person had issues pointed out to them. They stopped caring about the story and they're like, what if it's just a Nazi sleeper agent? They just took the Dronian route and started trolling me. Us, the reader. I packed my stuff and I take off my shirt to look at the discolored purple and brown skin rotting on my shoulder. I look at it, thanking the Nazis that they fixed the formula before making me. I put my shirt on again. Okay, so this is back to the problem of the David Cage problem of we have an inner monologue for this person and they're not mentioning the fact that they're like this Nazi monster. Come on. I put my shirt on again. It may be confusion. That is okay. In 1928, I was born. In 1945, so we're getting a little plot dump. Come on. I was made immortal by the order to serve Nazi Germany's last order, destroying all the places that could be useful to the Nazi cause. I have served this ever since. I have destroyed 100 facilities. You've heard of these fires. I know you have. Goodbye, Heil Hitler. Presumably, if you change your name to James Cook, American Anglo-Saxon name, and came to American culture, you just remained a Nazi. That's weird. And then your last job is to destroy everything that's useful to Nazis. So you're a Nazi, and your job is to destroy things that would be useful to Nazis. Seems legit. Meme Team, Teen69, ever the useful commenter. Why did the Nazis tell you to destroy places useful to them? And then White Token 1 responds, no evidence, no crimes. Chaotic Pyro 07, easier for resurgence probably as well if there's no proof they existed or committed crimes. I think maybe this is just me. Maybe I'm in the know or something. Maybe it was just the school that I went to. They told me about this stuff. I think the Nazis' crimes are pretty well documented. I think they're pretty well documented. Some people, crazy people, deny the crimes. Say that there were no crimes, that there was no Holocaust. But most people have I'm turning into MatPat because of how emphatically nuts this is. I think most people have an idea. There was kind of like this whole trial about it called the Nuremberg trials. People are pretty aware of what happened in Nazi Germany. Pretty well chronicled. In fact, the premise of the story is that they're a World War II historian. So I think we can see what the issues with this story are, and maybe No Sleep as in general, before we leave here today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna put this in your head again, right over there. Community details r/No Sleep. No Sleep is a subreddit for realistic horror stories. Everything here is true, even if it's not. Nazi sleeper agent monsters. Alright. If you enjoyed this, please check out the Fear Fiction podcast. It's more entertaining than this. Although after this part, I think it's pretty entertaining, the idea that the Holocaust wouldn't be well documented. And I think we should get on to our sponsor of the day, which is Fireproof Houses. Fireproof Houses. The Nazis invented not fireproof houses? I'm confused. Buy